The path through the hidden door was different this time. No glowing bridges, no floating sky. Just silence and a long tunnel made of crystal walls that reflected shadows of memories. Jalen's first meeting with Alisari. Her ship crashing, the moment he covered her with his body, each memory floated beside them like soft light. They didn't speak. Their steps were steady. The mission was clear now. Reach the vault before the Syndicate's false clone did. Protect what could change the galaxy at the end of the path. The vault of Ethros appeared again, but something was wrong. The smooth crystal flower was no longer calm. Its petals shook. Dark lines moved across its surface like cracks. The ground trembled gently beneath their feet. "They've already started," Alisari whispered. "The clone, it's here." Yalan stepped closer. "Then we're not too late. Let's stop this." Suddenly, a figure stepped out from behind the vault. At first, Yalan thought it was Alisari. She looked exactly the same face. Same skin, same silver eyes, but there was no warmth in her gaze, no light in her heart. The clone smiled. "You're too late." Alisari stood still, staring at her own face. "You're not real." "I'm real enough to open the vault," the clone replied, "and that's all the Syndicate needs." Yalan stepped forward. "But you're not her. You didn't earn the vault's trust. You don't feel anything." The clone laughed. "Feelings don't matter. Power does." The vault pulsed behind her as if unsure who to listen to. The clone reached out toward the crystal, but the moment her fingers touched it, a jolt of light struck her hand. She stumbled back. Alisari stepped forward. "The vault still remembers the truth. It knows who protected it, and who only wants to use it." But the clone didn't give up. She raised her hands, and dark energy formed between her palms. It wasn't like Alisari's light. It was rough, painful, forced. She hurled the blast at Yalan. Alisari jumped in front of him, just like he had done for her once before. The energy struck her, throwing her to the ground. Alisari shouted, kneeling beside her. She winced. "I'm okay, just winded." The vault flashed again. The Guardian appeared, the same glowing figure from before, but now flickering, uncertain, to carry the light blood. "One speaks with truth, one with lies. Only one can remain." The clone smirked. "Let's find out which one." Yalan stood between her and Alisari. "I won't let you touch her again." The clone raised her hand. "You're just a human. It don't matter." But then the vault pulsed once more, stronger this time, and a second voice echoed. "He matters most." The clone froze. Alisari looked up, eyes wide. "The vault is speaking of Yolan."
What?
The Guardian stepped forward. "The bond between the human and the light blood is what makes the key whole. Without it, power turns to dust." The clone's face twisted. "No, I have the same blood, but not the same heart." The vault opened fully. A bright light surrounded Alisari and Yalan, lifting them gently off the ground. Their hands found each other. The energy flowed between them like a calm river. The clone screamed in frustration, but the vault rejected her completely. She was thrown backward, her form flickering like a broken image. Then she vanished. The danger was gone. The energy settled. Yalan and Alisari were placed back on their feet. The vault closed gently, its petals returning to their peaceful shape. The cracks faded. The chamber calmed. Alisari turned to Yalan, her eyes full of tears. "You were the missing piece," she said. "I thought it was just my blood, but it was our bond. That's what awakened the vault's true power." Yolan smiled. "Guess I'm more useful than just fixing broken machines." She laughed softly. "Much more." The Guardian appeared. "One last time, the vault has chosen. The bond of Protector and Starborn shall guide the next age. The Syndicate will find nothing here. The doorways are sealed to all but you." Then the Guardian faded forever. Outside the vault, the galaxy shifted. The Syndicate's false signals were erased. Their data traps collapsed. The clone experiment failed. Other star systems that feared Alisari now received the truth messages sent by the vault, showing her kindness, her protection, her choice to save, not destroy. Across planets, people began to whisper of the Light Blood Girl and the human who stood by her side. Jay, Len, and Alisari stood at the top of the vault stairs, looking out at the vast glowing skies. "What now?" Yalon asked. Alisari took his hand again. "Now we rebuild." "Together you're not going to disappear again?" he teased. She shook her head. "Not anymore. Wherever I go, I want you with me." Yalon smiled. "And I guess I'm not going anywhere either." They walked down the steps together, side by side, and as they did, the stars above them swirled gently as if watching, as if remembering, because the man who once covered a stranger with his body had unknowingly protected the last key to a galaxy's balance, and the galaxy would never forget him. The sky above Viren 6 cracked with sound. It started as a normal day for Yolan. He was alone on the edge of mining station Thatnine, quiet outpost far from any major city or colony. His job was simple: repair old equipment, report or levels, and make sure the scanner stayed online. No excitement. No visitors. That's why he noticed the sound right away. It wasn't thunder. It wasn't a shuttle landing either. It was a deep, powerful boom from high above, followed by a sharp streak of fire cutting through the sky. He stepped outside, shielding his eyes. Something was falling fast. Not a meteor. Not junk. Something. Controlled. And crashing. Jalen grabbed his small tracker and climbed into the old rover. The emergency signal hadn't gone off, which meant command didn't detect it yet. Whatever had just fallen, it was outside the station's system. That made it his problem. He drove fast across the rocky plain, following the trail of smoke that curled into the red sky like a warning. After 10 minutes, the ground dipped into a shallow crater. In the center was a small, broken ship-round, organic-looking, not human-made. It had crashed hard, but not deep. Jalen approached slowly, heart beating faster, and then he saw her, lying. Next to the wreckage was a young alien woman. Her skin was pale blue with a soft, glowing pattern like ink under the surface. She wasn't moving. Her clothes were torn in places, but she didn't look injured in a fatal way, just unconscious. Or deeply exhausted. He knelt beside her. "Hey," he said softly. "Can you hear me?" No answer. He checked her pulse like he was taught during training. It was weak, but steady. Her breathing was slow. Carefully, he picked her up and carried her toward. The rover was surprisingly light, as if her bones were hollow or made of something less dense than human tissue. As he placed her inside the rover, something strange happened. His tracker blinked and went dark. The vehicle's screen fuzzed, flickered, then cleared. Systems reset on their own. He frowned but didn't waste time figuring it out. Back at the station, he laid her down on a cot in the medical room. First aid scanner couldn't identify her species, but it detected stable vitals. He cleaned her wounds and covered her with a thermal blanket. Then he waited. For hours, she didn't move. Outside night fell and the winds picked up. Yolan made some soup and sat nearby, glancing at her every few minutes. He had questions, of course. Who was she? Why was she flying alone? Why hadn't command picked up the crash? Just before midnight, the alarm suddenly screamed. An old defense cannon on the hill had activated, automatically locking onto something inside the outpost. What? Yolan ran to the monitor. Target detected. Hostile. Signal confirmed. Firing in 3. The cannon had somehow locked onto her, probably reading her strange energy as a threat. There was no time to override it. Without thinking, Yolan ran back to the medical room. He dove over the girl's body, covering her with his own just as the outpost shook violently. The walls trembled. Dust fell from the ceiling. Then silence. The cannon had fired, but something had interfered. Jaw looked up. The blast had hit the shielded side of the station. A warning blinked, but there was no serious damage. Still, the danger wasn't over. The girl stirred, her eyes opened slowly. They were a deep silver, almost glowing. She blinked, confused, then focused on him. "You," she whispered, voice weak. "You protected me." He nodded. "Yeah, you were about to be blasted." She sat up, shaking. "I didn't mean to trigger anything. That old cannon must have misread your signal." She looked around, alarmed. This planet, this station. I shouldn't be here. Yalin sat down beside her. Well, you are? And now you're in danger. So tell me, who are you? What just happened? She looked down at her hands, her voice trembling. My name is Alisari. I escaped. They were trying to use me. Use what's in my blood. He narrowed his eyes. Use you for what? Up. To rewrite Galaxies. Yalin blinked, speechless. She continued. I'm not like others. My ancestors were Star Weavers. What's in me is old, very old, and powerful. If it falls into the wrong hands, it could destroy systems, not save them. That's why I ran. He didn't fully understand, but her fear was real. Now that she was here, her enemies might. Follow. Alisari shivered. I didn't mean for you to be involved, human. You should have let me die. Yalin stood up. It's not my style. Outside, the stars above Virion 6 flickered, and in orbit, 3 silent ships appeared watching. Yolin stood at the window, staring at the sky. 3 unknown ships had appeared in orbit. They weren't broadcasting any signals, no names, no flags, no communication, just silence. It was never a good sign. He turned back to Alisari, where she sat. On the cot, still weak, but her eyes watched the scanner with quiet fear. They found me, she whispered. Jalen's jaw tightened. Who exactly found you? She lowered her head. The Syndicate. A powerful group from the Edge systems. Collect weapons, secrets, anything rare. I am one of those secrets. Yalin leaned against the wall, arms crossed. You said your blood can rewrite galaxies. What does that even mean? Alisari looked at him. I carry a code, not just genetic, but something deeper. My ancestors were part of a forgotten race, the Star Weavers. They didn't build weapons with metal. They built with thought, energy, and light. They shaped stars, moved planets, and created machines that could change the rules of space. She paused. That knowledge was lost, but my blood remembers. Yalin frowned. You mean your DNA? She nodded. Yes, certain systems, ancient ones, will only respond to Star Weaver blood. The Syndicate discovered this and tried to use me. I escaped. Barely. The room was quiet. Yalin looked at her carefully. How did you end up crashing here? I overloaded the warp drive, she said, jumped randomly. This planet was not my destination. But when I saw no cities, no fleets, I thought maybe I was safe. I was wrong. Yalin sighed and tapped. The table? We need to move. If they send scouts down, this place won't protect us. Alisari looked down. I don't want you to get hurt because of me. You already said that, he replied. But I'm still here. She gave him a small, surprised smile. They packed quickly. Yalin loaded energy cells, medical supplies, water, and a cloaking blanket into the rover. Alisari walked slowly, her steps unsure, but her strength was returning. Where will we go? She asked. Jal pointed to a large canyon shown on the old maps. There's a cave system deep underground, old mining routes. No signal, no scanners. If we hide there, maybe we'll have a chance. They left the station and headed toward the canyon. Sky was dark, stars sharp and still. Behind them, the ships remained in orbit like silent watchers. Halfway there, the rovers comes buzzed. Incoming message, but it wasn't words. It was a pulsa. Strange wave of energy that made Alisari wince in pain and drop to her knees. Yalin stopped the rover. Alisari, she clutched her head. They're trying to track me, not with tech, but with sound and memory. That signal it calls to my blood. Yalin helped her up. We need to block it somehow. Alisari looked toward the rocks ahead. The caves, the stone there. Maybe it can shield us. They reached the canyon and parked the rover in a shadowed crevice. Yalin helped her inside a narrow opening that led into a twisting, low tunnel. As soon as they moved deeper, the signal stopped. Alisari let out a shaky breath. Yes, this rock is ancient. It resists the signal. Yalin lit a small lamp. Cave walls shimmered slightly, full of strange crystals and veins of silver. These caves go on for miles, he said. Some of the oldest miners said they found strange tech buried deep, but no one ever proved it. Elisari ran her hand along the wall. This place was touched by the Star Weavers. I can feel it. Suddenly a soft humming sound filled the air. Jalen raised his light. What is that? A faint glow appeared further down the tunnel. They walked toward it carefully. They reached a chamber. In the center stood a tall arch made of silver and stone, covered in symbols neither of them recognized. The arch wasn't damaged, it looked. Clean, untouched by time, Elisari gasped. This is one of the doors. My ancestors used them to travel between systems. But they only open when blood recognizes them. Yalan stared. You think this can help us escape? Elisari hesitated. Maybe. Or maybe it will bring something worse. I don't know if I'm strong enough to control it. Just then, a noise echoed behind them. Heavy footsteps. Metal on Rock.jln pulled out his old mining cutter and stepped in front of Elisari. Stay back. A tall figure entered the chamber, a bounty hunter, face covered, suit heavy with gear. His voice was cold through the speaker. You have something that doesn't belong to you, human. Elisari stepped forward. I am not property. The bounty hunter raised a pulse weapon, your syndicate priority. Return now, or both of you vanish here. Yalan stood firm. You'll have to go through me. The bounty hunter fired. JLN moved fast, grabbing a loose metal plate and blocking the shot. The blast threw him backward, and he hit the wall hard. Elisari screamed his name, but in that moment, something in her changed. She ran to him, placed her hand on his chest. The entire room pulsed with energy. The arch lit up. The cave shook. The bounty hunter turned, startled. What are you? Before he could finish, a wave of force pushed him against the wall. His weapon fell. Elisari stood glowing, her eyes bright. Symbols on the arch glowing in response. I don't want to harm anyone, she said softly, but I will not be taken again. The bounty hunter scrambled away, terrified, and ran. From the cave, Yalun groaned and sat up. What? What did you just do? Elisari looked down at him. I didn't know I could. But when you protected me again, something awoke. Yalan chuckled weakly. That seems to keep happening. She reached out and helped him stand. The door is awake. But we must be careful. The next step is bigger than either of us. Yalan nodded. Then we face it together. And behind them, the arch waited, quiet, powerful, and now watching. The ancient arch stood behind them like a silent guardian. Yalan stared at it, still trying to understand what had happened. Just moments ago, he had been knocked to the ground by a bounty hunter's attack. Now, the alien girl he had saved Elisari was standing in front of a glowing structure, her skin pulsing with strange energy. She wasn't just powerful. She was something more. Something that even she didn't fully understand. Is it safe? Yalan asked, pointing toward the arch. Elisari looked at it with wonder. I don't know. It awakened because of me. But if we walk through it, there's no promise we'll end up somewhere safe. These doors respond to memory, emotion, and blood. I've never used one before. Yalan nodded. Then let's wait. We're not ready yet. The cave around them was quiet again. The bounty hunter had fled, but they both knew more would come. Syndicate agents didn't stop. If one had tracked her this far, others were close. We need to move deeper, Yolan said. There are old mining tunnels below this cave. I saw them in the maps. Some go down for miles. Elisari followed him without question. They moved down narrow paths lit by old lights and crystals embedded in the walls. The further they went, the cooler the air became. Time seemed to slow in those tunnels. As they walked, Elisari spoke softly. You were ready to fight for me. Again, Yalan shrugged. I just do what feels right. She glanced at him. I know. One has done that for me in a very long time. They found a quiet chamber, deeper underground. Yalan set up a small energy field around the space, just enough to block scanners. He shared food and water with Elisari, and they sat together, resting, in silence. After a while, she spoke again. When I was young, my people kept me hidden. They said I was special, but I didn't understand why. I thought I was cursed. Machines broke near me. Lights flickered. When I got upset, strange things happened. Elon listened carefully. They trained me to hide it. When the syndicate found out, they tried to force it out of me. They wanted me to open vault-sold machines. They didn't care if it hurt me. You escaped? Yalin asked. She nodded, barely. I overloaded a shuttle's engine and vanished. I had no idea where I would land. But he smiled slightly. Well, you landed on the one outpost with a human who doesn't ask too many questions. She laughed. Gently, I think you asked plenty of questions. Yalin leaned back, just not the ones that matter most. Alisari raised an eyebrow. Like what? Like ... what happens next? She became serious again. If the syndicate gets to me, they'll use my blood to activate ancient tech things that should never be touched again. Some of it can rewrite gravity, time, even erase stars. Jalen's eyes widened. And they want to control all that? They want power? They don't care about balance or safety. Just control. He looked down at the floor. So how do we stop them? Alisari's voice dropped. I have to reach the Vault of Ethros. What's that? A hidden place built by the Starweavers. It's said to hold the last Guardian system of defense that can erase any user of Starweaver. Power, who misuses it. But it will only open to one who protects, not destroys. Yolan blinked. You think that's you? I don't know, she said honestly, but I have to try. Suddenly the ground above them rumbled. The energy field flickered. Yalan jumped. To his feet. They're here. A loud explosion followed. Dust fell from the cave ceiling. Jalen grabbed his old mining cutter and activated the emergency shield on his wrist. Alisari, go. Hold him off. She looked horrified. No. You'll be killed. He shook his head. I've got a few tricks. Just get to the door. If it takes you to the vault, you'll be safe. She placed her hand on his shoulder. Not without you. Yalan hesitated. Another blast shook the cave. Rocks fell, sealing the way they came in. Alisari stared. At the wall of rubble? That wasn't random. They want to trap us. Yalan cursed under his breath. Then we go back to the door. They turned and ran, following the winding paths, each step echoing in the dark. The cave trembled again, voices behind them, metal boots, energy weapons charging. Finally, they reached the chamber with the ancient arch. It still glowed, waiting. Alisari stepped forward and placed her hand on the side. The arch shimmered and opened. Inside, they saw stars. Not just any stars, but a spinning space full of floating shapes. Paths made of light and something that looked like a world made of crystal and air. Alisari turned to Yolan. I can't do this without you. The door responds to feelings. Two choices. If I go alone, it might lead me to danger. But if you go with me, maybe it'll take us to where we're needed. Yolan looked into the strange doorway. He didn't understand the science. Thought he understood her eyes. He nodded. Let's do it together. She took his hand, and they stepped into the arch. The light swallowed them whole. Behind them, the syndicate agents reached the empty chamber too late. The door closed and vanished. The light faded. Jael opened his eyes slowly. His body felt light, like he had been floating. The air was different, warm and soft, almost like it carried music in its silence. Around him, the sky wasn't blue or black, it was silver-filled, with soft clouds and strange glowing patterns that moved like rivers in the air. He looked beside him. Alisari stood still, her hand still holding his. We made it, she said quietly. Jalen looked around. They were standing on a large floating platform made of smooth white stone. In the distance, other platforms floated, too connected by glowing bridges that bent slightly as if made from energy instead of metal. Where are we? Yolan asked. Alisari took a breath. This is the bridge realm. The door brought us here because it sensed we were connected by trust, by action, by choice. Yolan frowned. So this place reads emotions? She nodded. Yes, it also tests them. Suddenly a soft voice echoed around them. Not a machine, not a person. More like a whisper in the wind. He comes with open heart. She carries ancient light. If they are true, the vault will reveal its face. Yalan turned quickly. Who said that? Alisari looked calm. It's the vault. It speaks only when someone worthy arrives. Yolan wasn't sure how to feel. He was just a human technician, not a hero or a chosen one. But somehow he was standing in a place meant for something far greater than him. They began walking across one of the glowing bridges. Each step felt weightless. Below them was no ground, just a deep, swirling space of stars and flowing light. Yolan tried not to look down too much. Alisari walked ahead, her steps steady now. Energy of this place seemed to make her stronger. You're not afraid? Yalan asked. She looked back. I was, for a long time. But now I feel something different. What's that? Hope they reach the next platform. In its center was a large structure shaped like a closed flower made of crystal and gold. It pulsed slowly, like it was breathing. This is it, Alisari said. The Vault of Ethros. Yalan stared. It's beautiful. It holds a guardian, a defense built by the Starweavers. If I'm worthy, the guardian will awaken. I'm not. She didn't finish the sentence. Yalan stepped beside her. You're not alone anymore. Whatever happens, I'm with you. She smiled softly. Then she walked forward and placed her hand on the base of the vault. A bright light flashed. The crystal petals slowly opened, one by one, revealing a glowing sphere inside. The air around them shifted. Form rose from the sphere, a figure made of light and shadow, with no face, no voice. Just presence. The vault had awakened. Daughter of the light blood. What is your intent? The figure asked in a deep voice that echoed in their minds. Alisari stepped forward. I wish to protect this power, not use it for war or control. I seek peace. I want to stop those who would use it to hurt others. The guardian paused, and the human Yalan blinked. Me. You protected her with no promise of reward. You stood between her and death. Why? Yolan spoke honestly. Because it was right. I didn't care about what she was. I just saw someone who needed help. The light around the guardian pulsed. This is the answer of one who has no power but still chooses courage. The guardian stretched out a glowing hand. Then the vault is yours, light blood and human. But no, this your bond is the key. If it breaks, so does the power. If it weakens, the defense will fall. Alisari looked at Yalan. Do you understand what that means? Yalan nodded. Yeah, it means we have to trust each other, no matter what. The guardian disappeared into the sphere again. The vault pulsed once more, then released a wave of light that flew into the sky. The moment it touched the air, something changed, far away across the galaxy. Syndicate command ships suddenly lost their locked coordinates. Their scanners failed, their systems went dark. The trace of Alisari's bloodline vanished from all. Their maps, she was hidden, now protected by the vault. JLN let out a long breath. So, we did it, Alisari smiled. We did, but it's not the end. The vault only protects. It doesn't destroy the Syndicate. That part is still up to us. Yalan stretched his arms. Well, I've got an old mining ship, some tools, and now a best friend who can talk to ancient star machines. Sounds like a good start, she laughed. A very good start. Suddenly, the platform beneath them began to shift. The bridges faded. The sky above turned bright. The vault was sending them back. Where are we going? Yalan asked. Alisari closed her eyes, where we are needed most. In the next moment, the light wrapped around them, and the stars began to change. The light faded slowly. JLL and Alisari found themselves standing in the middle of an open field under a deep blue sky. The air smelled fresh like wildflowers and morning dew. Birds with shining wings flew in slow circles above them, and distant mountains stood like silent guards on the horizon. JAL blinked. This isn't Variant 6. Alisari looked around. No, this is Sarithula, hidden world, created by the Starweavers. Few know it exists. Yalan raised his eyebrows. You've been here before? Only in memory, she said softly. This place is part of my bloodline. It remembers me, and now it welcomes you too. They walked through the tall grass. In the distance, they could see large structures, made of silver stone and clear crystal, beautiful, untouched by time. As they approached, glowing symbols lit up beneath their feet. The city of Sarathel recognized Alisari. She placed her hand on a pillar near the entrance. The structure responded with a low hum and opened, revealing a round hall filled with floating lights, glowing maps, and soft sounds of knowledge being whispered by machines older than any human system. This is where my ancestors stored their knowledge, Alisari explained. Everything the Syndicate wants is here. Yalan walked slowly through the hall, eyes wide. You mean they're looking for this place? Yes, she said, but they don't know how to find it. Only someone of Starweaver blood can open the gate hand now. I'm the last. She walked to a floating console and touched a series of lights. A large star map appeared in the air, showing different systems and moving ships. Jalen pointed. That symbol, it's the Syndicate fleet. They've regrouped, Alisari said with a worried voice. They're searching again. My signal is hidden, but they know I'm still alive. Now they're spreading across nearby systems to trap me. Yalan folded his arms. So what do? We can't hide forever. Alisari looked at him. No, we fight but with the truth, not war. He tilted his head. Explain. She touched another part of the map. It zoomed in on a place called Therian Reach. This is where the Syndicate stores captured tech, ancient relics, and stolen data. If we can reach their central core, I can upload a signal that will expose their crimes to the galaxy. Videos, experiments, force tests on rare species, it's all recorded. The Syndicate hides behind money and silence. But if the universe sees the truth, many will rise against them. Alan nodded slowly. But getting inside that place won't be easy. No, she agreed. But I believe in us. He smirked. You've only known me a few days, she smiled. But I've seen your heart, and that's what matters most. Suddenly, a deep tone echoed through the city. A warning. Alisari turned to a console. Someone just entered orbit. Please. Don't say Syndicate, Yalan muttered. She checked the signals. Not Syndicate, a single ship, unknown signature. Approaching fast, they ran outside. A small ship was landing in the meadow nearby. Its wings folded gently, and the ramp opened. A woman stepped out tall, wearing a robe that shimmered like stars. Her eyes were gold, and her hair flowed like liquid metal. Alisari froze. She's one of the Watchers. Yalan looked confused. Who? The Watchers are protectors of lost knowledge. They appear only when the balance of the galaxy is at risk. The woman approached. Alisari of the Lightblood, your awakening has reached us. Alisari bowed her head. I didn't mean to draw attention. The Watcher spoke kindly. You did what was right. The Vault has accepted you. Now the galaxy must decide. She turned to Yolan. And you, the human who chose to protect, not conquer. Your presence was the key. Yolan felt awkward. I just did what I thought was right. The Watcher smiled. That is the true sign of a guardian. Alisari asked, Why have you come? To warn you, the Watcher said. The Syndicate has found a way to copy ancient blood signals. They have created a false heir, a clone. It will confuse many systems, including old machines. They will. Try to use this false light blood to open dark gates. Yalan stepped forward. So they made a fake version of you? Yes, the Watcher answered. And it is already on its way to the Vault. Alisari's voice grew cold. If it reaches the Vault and changes its core, everything will fall. Yalan looked at her. We have to stop it. The Watcher nodded. You must return to the Vault, but not through the doors. They're being watched. I will open a hidden path. Alisari bowed again. Thank you. Before leaving, the Watcher looked at them one last time. I'll be strong. What you share is rare. Your bond is the shield against chaos. Don't let it break. Then, like mist, the Watcher vanished. Alisari turned to Yalan. Are you ready? He tightened his gloves. Always. They stepped onto a new platform. A second door, hidden beneath Sarethel, opened silently before them. This one didn't glow. It hummed with quiet power, steady and deep. Alisari took his hand, and together they walked through once again. Back to the vault, back to the fight.